Is it Marquis or Marquis? Like the rebel fighters?
Probably Marquis.
Really?
Like we say Marquis Downs, but that's because we're like we pronounce Regina. Like we're almost Saskatchewan people. Like when we encounter any language other than like English, we just freak out.
Okay. We'll stumble through that one.
Do it.
What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punchboard Party. My name is Daniel. This is Father Greg, and we're talking about our best board games for the month of June. And so we're recording this pretty early because I'm going on vacation. June 30th, we're going to be in Ontario for 2 weeks. We're going to hit up Money in the Bank, WWE Money in the Bank with the kids.
That's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy. As always, please let us know down in the comments below what you've been playing in the month of June, what you like playing, what you think we enjoy playing. Just talk to us. We love you guys.
We'll pick it up in the month of August. That's our promise to you.
That's right. You know what? Starting in the month of August, these videos might get 2 hours long.
One can only hope.
One can only hope. That's true. Sarah's worst nightmare, but... Okay, so what we do is we talk about every single board game we've played in a particular month, this month being June, and then at the end of the video we're going to tell you what the best board game we played in the month is. And so I'm going to start us off. We played a game together, Marvel United Spider-Geddon.
Wow.
Okay, so I have been having my eye on the Marvel United system for a long time. I struggle with co-op sometimes, but I'm drawn towards some simple like hand management, card play mechanics. A simple cooperative game is always kind of alluring to me, and I just love the chibi style IP usage of the Marvel, not cinematic universe, but the Marvel universe. It just really hits me in the heartstrings. And so I had some trade-in credit for Dragon's Den.
Sure.
I just decided to pick up Marvel United Spider-Geddon. Played with the kids first, and they enjoyed it quite a bit. It's a fairly simple system. And then we played it together, and it was kind of fun. I played it a couple more times since, just kind of getting the hang of it. The system is simple enough that you almost wonder if you're playing it wrong.
Right.
And then you find out that, yeah, you are playing it wrong. And then you gotta come back around. And then you still feel like you're playing it wrong, but it's right. Like... Basically, what you're doing is there's a bad guy, and then you pick your heroes that each player is going to play as, and then you're just playing cards in a big card row. Like, the way that the player mat for this, if you get the player mat, it's set up like a big circle, so you play the cards in a big circle.
Oh,
basically, like, the heroes play 3 cards, and then the villain plays a villain card, and there's these BAM effects that trigger on the different locations out there on the board. Basically, the board is just, you set up 6 locations, and then the heroes and the villain jump between them and rotate around them. And
usually they do bad stuff to you.
And they do bad stuff to you.
Yeah.
And then there's threat cards that are covering the locations, because the locations themselves usually do good stuff, but they're initially covered by the bad guy's bad stuff. And so then you have to clear those off. But it's really cool. Like, there's kind of 3 main currencies. There's like stars, punches, and something else.
Something else, yeah.
Yeah.
Some other good thing.
There's just currencies that you're using, and the stars let you save civilians, and the punches let you beat thugs off of the locations and punch the bad guy, and it's fairly streamlined. But what I love about the game is I just love you have your hand of cards, and you're like, okay, I'm going to play this to the card row, and because you played previously, I'm going to be able to chain with what I'm doing with what you did. So you played 2 punches previously. I'm playing 2 punches. I get to do 4 punches.
That's right.
That's a fun little thing.
Only 4 punches. The first time we played this, we started chaining way too much.
Yeah, we were chaining the whole darn row.
We were like Olympian gods by the end of that match.
It was a pretty easy game.
That's right.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a good game. I enjoyed playing it. Yeah, in terms of fairly straightforward, it does what a cooperative game does. Yeah. You take your turn, bad guy takes his turn, he hits you on his turn, right? Yes. He moves around, there's a kind of randomizing, flip a card, see if more civilians show up or more bad guys. That's right. See if that floods a location, if that pandemic style sort of overflows.
That's right.
And, so it shares a lot of DNA with a lot of basic cooperative games.
Yes.
But it does it in a pretty cheerful, small-sized experience that's pretty accessible. So
and like just like a junkie's dream in that you just like collect all the heroes. If you just love Marvel, you're just gonna want to get. Like, the sets don't really change a whole lot. There's some variation in how things work, but really it's just getting that little mini of your favorite guy or whatever.
I went over to Marion Dallas's and I played Fugitive. I believe 2nd edition, but Fugitive, which is a little card game.
Oh, yes.
I think this is a video game, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's like it looks like a video game that I've like seen or something. But anyways, it's kind of a sort of a little bit of like a deductive game. Your opponent, if you're the person who's like running away, if you're the fugitive, you're putting down just cards, but you're putting them like face down, and they're numbered from like 1 to, I don't know, 60 or something like that. So your goal is like to get to the final number, like to get to 60. But along the way, the detective is trying to like guess what those numbers are that you've put down. And so the rule is that like you can move like 3 spaces for free. So if I had like a 3, the next card I could put down could be a 4, 5, or 6. So like you know that it's within 3 of the last number that was played. But I could put down extra cards, and every card that I put down is going to like increase how much bigger. Like now it could be 10 cards. But like eventually you run out of cards in your hand, and so then, you can't play, ad infinitum kind of thing. But basically, so basically what you have is you're like, okay, I know he was at 3. Then I know he could only be at a maximum of 6 from there. Then he played a special card, so now he could be up to 12. Somewhere between 6 to 12.
Okay.
And so sometimes you have to but like if you're always going the max, well then it's easy to figure out. So sometimes you have to kind of like double bluff where you like put down a bunch of cards,
right? Even
though you only move like one number.
Okay.
Like you went from a 6 to a 7, but you put down 3 cards so that the person's like, well, he could be a 20. Who knows, right? And so it's basically just kind of like, trying to figure out, and there's certain things you can do. Eventually, you can like flip over certain cards, but basically, the detective is trying to be able to name by the end of the game every single spot that you have been to.
Okay. Pretty sure I played this once with Scott, our buddy Scott, a long time ago, back in London, and all I remember about it is that it was thrilling and fun, and I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but I don't remember a whole lot more than that. As you're describing things, I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's like a little small box, but it works great.
Sweet. Okay, then church game night. I finally snuck in a little game for myself near the end of the night. The Veil for Eternity.
Sure, why not? A little game.
Played that again. Hey, this is great. So again, this is just a classic kind of tableau building game where there's just all these little nice wrinkles that make it more than meets the eye. So a kind of seasons light we've been saying a lot, and I think that's still accurate. But basically, you're on your turn, you're going to be drafting cards, and it's a snake draft, so that's really interesting to start. You just place your token on the cards that you want, and then you go like do-do-do, and then the last player in turn order then gets to draft twice in a row, and then it goes back around the table. And so if you're first, you get the best pick, but then you also get the worst pick. And so it's like, okay.
Right.
And then once you decide that, then you're going to determine what you're going to do with the card. Are you going to bring the card into your hand? Or are you going to sell the card? And the card, depending on what location you're selling it from, gets you a certain number and type of tokens. You can only ever have 4 tokens in front of you. So one location might give you a 6 token, but another location gives you 4 ones. And it's like, well, 4 ones. It's kind of crappy. 6, that's good, but So you're sometimes drafting for the currency, and you're sometimes drafting for the card, right? Like it's interesting that way. And then you're and then you're going to have the opportunity to summon cards from your hand, but you can only ever have as many cards in your tableau as the round number that you're on. So just again, fairly simple, like what you would think of for a tableau building game with play this card and earn 1 point for every different type of card in your tableau. Play this card and earn the number of points as the cost of the card you discard next, and there's all that kind of typical stuff.
I keep forgetting what game this is. When you were like Veil of Eternity, like, is that like a giant box? I was thinking of some other game, but sure. Yeah, Veil of Eternity. It's 10 rounds unless it's not. This game lasts 10 rounds.
It could be up to 10 rounds.
Or not.
It's a race to 60 points.
And you never really know. And yeah, sometimes you want to put 10 guys in your tableau, but you're not on round 10 yet, so you can't.
Not bitter. Not bitter.
It's a fine game, mildly infuriating. The next game I played, continuing our little series, was Viscounts of the West Kingdom.
Hey, so there you go.
Finally got through the West Kingdom series, through the one that's maybe, of the West Kingdom games, at least, the most... The biggest kind of thing to wrap your head around. I think it's like the hardest to teach of the West Kingdom games. Maybe not the hardest to play, but the hardest to teach for sure. Like there's weird things, the way the castle works, it's like a whole mess of a thing to try and explain. But it's good. I really enjoy this game. Yeah, I think it deserved a little bit more love than it had, although it's still pretty highly ranked. Yeah. It's maybe not the... It's one of the lower ranked of that series, but
right.
But
so, like, what is it? It's like multi-use cards, semi-deck building. What?
Yeah, you kind of have like cards that you play, and then some cards, but they flow off your board. Like you play them, and then like 3 turns later, they'll leave your board, and so you kind of get whatever's on that card as long as it stays on your board, like all the symbols and whatever. But some cards will do things when they show up. So other cards will do things when they leave. Okay. So like when they get pushed off your board, they'll do something maybe good, maybe bad.
That's neat.
So, but then there's sometimes different things in the game where you can like rearrange your cards. So like if you have a guy that you really don't want to leave, you can like move him back to the front of the line. Okay. And like hold on to him for a couple extra turns or whatever. Or if you have a guy that does something really good, you throw him out there. You just get him out there. Like, oh, he does something really good when he gets rid of. Cool, kick him out.
Sure.
You know. So yeah, just a neat little thing. A little difficult to grok, but yeah, I think it went well.
Cool. No. This is probably one of the West Kingdom games that I've had the most interest in trying, because when I first started listening to the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast, this was the game they were talking about for the main review. And the things they were saying just interested me, in that they were like, "This is good, but like it's weird," and like
it is. It's a little weird,
and it's like I'm intrigued by that. That's good. So yeah, I'd be interested in playing.
I say it's the hardest to teach, but Wayfarers is coming up. So.
Well, Wayfarers isn't hard to teach. It's just dumb. But like I looked it up, and like that's getting pretty high up the rankings, and I'm like, are people playing the same Wayfarers that I play? Maybe not. Okay, so. Marvel United kind of put like a little co-op flavor back into me, and I was like, okay, because I always had issues with co-ops, in that at the end of the day, it always felt to me that it only ever mattered how the cards were shuffled. That it was just hard for me to get over in my brain that I have any real agency over what's going to happen in this game. If those cards are just ordered in that way, then whatever. But what Marvel United helped me learn is that, yes, but there's like a spectrum within that luck that I can still control. Like I can still bring my own prowess and strategy to the game, and I can still do well most of the time, even though the luck is a factor. Or like once I understand the game, once I know how to play the game. So I was like, okay. And then I was at a board game store, and I had some money on hand, and I looked and I saw Resist. So this is a David Thompson solo game.
Oh.
Okay. So I was like, okay. I'll try a solo game. This is my first ever solo only board game.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a bold move.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the theme is kind of like pre-World War II into World War II, rebel fighters.
Cool.
Trying to resist.
Yeah.
Right? So you set up your table with different locations. And there's just these initial locations that start the game off. And each of the locations, there's the kind of opposition deck. And so the location will have a number, and that's how many cards you're going to play face down above that location. And so those are all the bad guys. And they're hiding at that location. You don't know exactly what they are. But the bad guys have like negative effects. So like if at the end of a round, if you battled at that location and these bad guys are still there, some of them will have survive effects. And if they survived, then they're going to add spies into your deck, which is a bad thing. Or they're going to add new bad guys to the other locations or things like that. So you kind of want to get rid of them. But then there's also defense abilities on these things that before you attack that location, you have to resolve these defend abilities. Anyway, so you have all these locations that are littered with these bad guys, and they're all face down to start. And then you have your own deck. Now, your own deck of cards, I was excited for a nice little hand management game. The cards you have like are these giant like these big suckers, man. So,
usually that's a problem. Like usually the problem is these cards are so tiny.
yes. So the cards at the locations are normal size cards.
Okay.
And then your cards are like these giant cards. But that's because they have your character has two sides. They have their hidden ability and then they have their revealed ability. So when they're just kind of in town, just doing their thing sneakily, they have one ability, and it's usually like a bit of a lesser strength, a little lesser ability, or maybe the same ability but less strength, or whatever the case may be. Or you can play them on their revealed side. And so in front of you, you just play, if they're hidden, you just play them to the left. If they're revealed, you play them to the right. If you played them revealed, at the end of the round, they're going to go away, okay? But if you play them hidden, then you get them back in your discard pile.
Right,
and they'll shuffle back through. Yep. So that's the neat thing. That's the thing that you're trying to balance. So you do, and then on the cards there's the plan action, and there's the plan phase, and there's the attack phase. So some cards will do their abilities in the plan phase, and some will do theirs in the attack phase, and that matters because in the plan phase you can kind of draw more cards into your hands so that you might have more. But it's like I suck. I suck at this, but I have had fun trying to figure it out. So I haven't puzzled it out yet, but again, I have confidence that I can get better at this game. But it provides a challenge because what happens is you choose, so you plan, and if you're doing plan actions, then you're revealing bad guys at different locations, kind of starting to get a lay of the land to see what's actually there. You can get more cards in your hand to kind of have a better idea of how much strength you can go into a battle with. But then for the attack, you have to pick one location that you're actually fighting at. So it's like, okay, now I'm fighting here. And then you add up all the strength on all your cards, hidden and revealed, and then you divvy up that strength against the bad guys that are at the location and the location itself. So if you don't defeat the location itself, then one of the endgame conditions is failing to complete 2 missions. So you kind of gotta get the location. Right. But then if you leave these guys surviving, they're gonna do bad things. And so you're like, I can't do both. Anyway, resist. Fun. Nice.
Good.
Fun little game.
I'm glad to see you going down the solo trail.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's a fun experience. There's a lot of thieves in board gaming. But you know what there's not? There's not a lot of board games about quantum mechanics and string theory. There's just, you really just want a game about, a theoretical experiment where a guy put a radioactive cat in a box and, maybe it's dead, maybe it's not, maybe it's both, maybe it's neither. Who knows? Well, they did. They came up with a game called Cat in the Box. So this is a weird game. This is, but it's a trick-taking game. And so this is a game where if you play this with somebody who knows and likes trick-taking games, it'll probably blow their mind when you explain it to them because it's a weird take on trick-taking games. But basically, you get your whole hand of cards, and depending upon how many players, they're numbered 1 to 6 or 1 to 9 or whatever, but you look at your hand, but every single card in your hand is black. And it's like, wait, aren't there suits? And it's like, yeah, no, there's 4 suits: red, blue, green, and yellow. It's like, oh, so what is this? It's like it could be any of them. It could be any. It's quantum mechanics, man. It's string theory. It's like your card is all or none, or I don't know, something. And so it's only when you play the card do you say this is a blue 6, but then you take your marker and you put it on the blue 6. So now there can be no other blue 6s in this deck. Okay. Because that blue 6 has been claimed. So now you've got a 6, so this 6 could now be red, yellow, or green. But it can't be blue. Okay. Blue's already been played. And then like typical trick-taking rules, you can trump in. Red is always trump, so you can trump in. But then if you trump, that means that you don't have any more of that suit. So now you have to put a thing that says so if somebody leads blue and you play a red, now you're saying none of the cards in my hand are blue anymore. So red anymore, yeah. No, because you're blue, because you run out of blue, so now you've played a red. Oh, yes. So you're saying there's no blues in my hand. Okay. And so then,
but they could be if you wanted them to be.
Well, but no, they can't be now.
They can't be now, but they could have.
That's right. They could have been. They could have been at some other point in time. Could have been blue. But what happens is you end up kind of getting yourself walled into a corner where you've got a 1, but it can't be red, yellow, or green. and you said it can't be blue, so like you can't play this card.
Okay.
It's just hopeless because of the way that you kind of hooped yourself in, and so eventually you can cause what's called a paradox, where the system just falls apart and like it just ends. Which is weird.
Is that how the game ends?
So it's like how the round ends. So you're betting on tricks. So like you're betting kind of like how many tricks you're going to make. But as soon as there's a paradox, the game just stops, like because it can't go any further. And so even though like there might be 2 or 3 tricks left to claim, which can ruin somebody's day because like somebody's like planning, they're like, oh yeah, no, I can totally win one more.
Yes.
And then a paradox happens and the game just ends. They're like, son of a.
Like, that sounds fun.
So it is. It's like it's a weird game to try and explain, but like if you have people who like trick-taking games and whatever, this will it'll just be like, wait, what?
Okay, so then it was Father's Day.
Okay.
And Sarah and the boys got me a lot of different board games that were like family friendly, like games that we could play as a family and things like that. So there's a bit of a run of wild games right now that I'm going to talk about here. The first game that we played was called Gnomes at Night.
Whoa.
And so this is like off-the-shelf Kmart special kind of style game. But you know what? I've done a disservice to my kids in just trying to get them into hobby games and not letting them just be kids who just want to play stupid games. Because this ended up being a lot of fun.
Right.
So Gnomes at Night it's mainly a 2-player game where you have 2 magnetic gnomes. So you have a gnome and your partner has a gnome. And you put a board up in front of you and you click the gnomes together so that they stick. So that when I move my gnome, I'm moving your gnome. And when you move your gnome, you're moving my gnome. Say that 5 times fast.
Sure.
And so there's a maze on either side. And there's these artifacts. There's 12 artifacts in total. 6 on one side, 6 on the other side. You have a deck of cards and you have a timer. You set the timer. You start flipping the artifact cards over. And you're trying to see how many of the artifacts you can get to in the time allotted. You do that 3 different times. You count up your score. You're trying. In the rule book, there's a little threshold of how well you did. The genius, what makes this game actually a fun game to play, is that I can only move my gnome until he hits a dead end.
Okay.
But then if you have a clear path on your side, then you can move your gnome and cross my gnome across barriers that I have on my side.
Right.
And so it's just this constant like, okay, I can get you here. Can you get me up? Yeah, I can get you up. Okay, then.
Okay, so you can talk to each other.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, you're communicating. You're talking about like, okay.
I was gonna say, is this like Magic Maze where like
no.
You're like waiting for somebody, hoping that they move down, just like.
No.
This
is
cool.
This is you can just talk it out, and be like, okay, I can get you here, and you're just trying to beat the timer.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Trying to get the timer, and you know what? Fun. Fun, whatever.
Cool.
Whatever.
That actually does sound like fun.
The boys love it. And what they like to do, though, is they like to just set the timer aside. They don't like the pressure of the timer.
Sure.
And so they just play and find all 12 artifacts. And they're like, we found them all. We're the best. And it's like, yeah, you are. But there's 4 different boards that come in the game, and they increase in difficulty. And so it's a little harder to move around and whatever else.
Well, I went over to some friends in Unity, and as I'm, moving, my board game supply is like dwindling in each place, right? Like, like half of my board games are at my dad's house, and half of my board games are at my house, and they're like gradually so. So when I get invited to like somebody's house to play board games, I'm like now looking at half of my collection.
Sure.
And so I went over to their house to play a game. And I decided to bring along Dan's favorite game, Baron Park.
Okay, listen, don't talk foolishness on this channel.
And we had a great time. Baron Park's great. I've talked about it before, but it's great. We play with the Bad News Bears expansion, everything, the Grizzlies, the Monoliths, the trains, everything. Just great.
Wow.
So it's a crunchy, the expansion really does make it crunchy. The base game, it's like, anyone can play this.
And the other folks like this?
They enjoyed it.
They had poor sense to enjoy this?
Yeah, it was like at least mildly enjoyable for them. Yeah.
See? There's the cracks. The cracks are starting to show.
It's a good game. Dare you ruin the good name of Walker Kiesling, Phil
Walker Kiesling?
Something like that.
Phil Walker Harding.
That's right.
He used to be a name to watch. Now it's sort of like, I guess. Sarah got me in this kind of Father's Day bundle gift a couple of Uncle Buck games. Okay, so
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck knows that, right?
It's like with Tom or John Candy.
Grandpa Beck.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
They made a game of like a 90s movie?
It's a publishing company. Grandpa Beck, not Uncle Buck. So this is the same publishing company that produces Skull King. And so basically it's just this family has played card games like every other family has. And they said, you know what, we're going to put a theme on this and we're going to change a couple rules and we're going to make millions of dollars. Because they sell like millions of copies of these things. Anyway, so Reign of the Dragoness was the next one we played. And so this is like President or A-hole or whatever, that style ish. I sort of remember playing that, so I might have it a little wrong, but I think it's as close to that as you can get. So basically you got a bunch of dragon cards. There were different suits, and then the different suits have different gems on them. And so that kind of gives you the authority ranking between the different suits. So, the reds are more powerful than the blues and the whatever, but then they're all numbered and share the same numbers. But, my green 4 will beat your blue 4. That kind of thing. But basically, whoever's leading, not the round, but who's ever leading like not a trick either, but the battle or they call it a challenge. Whoever's leading the challenge declares what the pattern for that challenge is. So it might be a run, and you can have a run of 3 to 5 cards, or it can be 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, whatever. But you just set up a challenge, and you just play your cards out, and then everyone else goes around trying to beat your challenge. And the challenge is beaten by just having a higher number as the final card in that challenge. And you're just trying to get rid of your cards first. And so you're just going around, you're just trying to get rid of your cards first. If you're the last to play in that challenge, then you lead the next challenge. And then if you're last to play your cards, you get 3 points. Then the person with the least amount of cards after you gets 2. And then the person with the least amount of cards after you gets 1. And there's a couple like special cards. There's like a dragon egg. You still follow the same pattern, but you can reset the numbers now. So if the pattern was a run of 3 cards, and I only have 1, 2, 3, I can play the dragon egg and then play 1, 2, 3 after a 4, 5, 6 or whatever. So and then there's a couple of wild cards that are like, this card is wild between 1 and 8, and this card is wild between 9 and 12, and this card is wild between 1 and 12. So just a couple wrinkles. Played with the kids. They were upset the whole time that I kept winning, and so it wasn't all that fun. But I'm eager to play this just with kind of a card playing crowd, and just to warm up the night.
Cool.
Yeah.
Next game I played, Parks. Just a good old game of Parks. Just walking down.
Ratchet that mechanism.
That's right. Just walk along the path, collect some sunshine, some rain, some mountains, some trees. I don't know how you collect a tree, but you just go pick up a tree as you're hiking. And, and then you use it to buy a park at the end. Yeah, it's a weird,
The theming in this game is impeccable.
It kind of makes sense, sort of,
Sure.
But yeah, you collect sunshine and you spend it on gear. I don't know. I don't know how you'd understand that you can buy a bottle of sunscreen for 3 stars.
Right.
It makes sense. 3 sunshines equal a sunscreen. Anyways, yes, this is just a kind of go along the way, collect a bunch of little tokens, spend them for parks, get some bonus points. There's like the one like I think maybe complaint that there was. I think they kind of fixed this in like the expansion that they made, but like you end up with like these end goal, like these game cards, like these objectives that you're trying to achieve. Like you want to get 8 water on all of your parks, and so you're like, okay, good, I'm going to focus on that. That's going to be my strategy. Just get a bunch of parks that require water, and like at the end of the game, it gives you like 2 points. like you end up with like a score of like 32. So it's like this like little 2 points. Like it's like in the end, like your end game objective, you could go for it or not. Who cares? You'll probably do fine either way.
Sure.
Like so, it's like a lot of times you get 1 or 2 points from your end game bonus, but it's a good game.
Right.
Beautiful.
I remember enjoying it at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this Grandpa Beck game, I do not see much promise in. This infuriated me. This is called Gnoming Around.
Gnoming Around. A lot of gnomes.
Gnoming Around, yeah. So this is like, I guess from BGG I gather this is like golf or nines.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or something.
Got
So basically you have a grid of 9 cards in front of you, and then there's 2 cards revealed in the middle. You reveal 2 of your cards just to show And basically there's minus cards and there's positive cards, and you're looking for a low score. Mm-hmm. But if you create a row or a column of the same number, then that number becomes a negative number. So if I have 3 6s in a row, then I have -6.
That's great.
Awesome. If I have 2 6s and a 4, then I have plus.
That's horrible.
16. So it's like, darn it. And oh my gosh, like this is probably meant to be played with a few more players than just Sarah and I, but it was just Sarah and I playing this one. And it was just like, she just, flip up her first 2 starting cards and be like -4, -2. And then she'd draw a card off the top of the deck and it'd be -6. And it's like infuriating. And then she'd be like, and there's a mechanism in this game called bouncing, I think it's called.
Okay.
Where if I play a card to my grid, and then the card I reveal is either the card that I'm playing in the grid or already exists in my grid, then I can just place that somewhere else on an empty, like on a face-down card in my grid.
Okay.
And so then Sarah's just like, done. It's like, okay, well, so I was just mad. I went to bed angry on Father's Day. I'll tell you that.
Oh, it's a good feeling.
I'll tell you that.
I played the game of golf. Yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, I played golf. I've also played the card game golf.
Sure.
It sounds like both of those realities. Golf infuriates me mildly when I play it in real life.
Yeah,
and I'm familiar with the card version as well.
Yes. So anyway, I don't know how much I'll go back to that one, but...
Next game I played... and I played this once with Dan and once solo. And this is, I think it's fair to say, the best biblically themed board game.
Hands down. Hands down.
Maybe not tough competition.
Not hard, but but again, we haven't played some of these like Axe or whatever else. Because there's a few more that people kind of claim to be quite good. But
anyways, this is Ezra and Nehemiah.
Yes.
A game about... or even a rare, random part of the Old Testament that nobody reads. Like, nobody ever reads the post-exilic prophets. And they're rebuilding the temple, and it's like, this is the least exciting part of the whole of the Old Testament.
But it makes for a really great game.
That's right.
Like, the theme is cool. Like,
it is.
And it's neat that, people who aren't of faith can still get behind just the historical nature of this.
That's right. So this fits in with, I guess there's a kind of series like Hadrian's Wall and other games that they're not really part of a series like the West Kingdom is or anything like that, but they're like games that are about a specific time in history.
Yeah, Raiders of Scythia, the re-theme of Raiders of
Right. It's like, if you're mildly interested in history, you might tend towards these games. Yes, I think there's a few little weird things that I think are just nice thematic things. Like you put the Levites into the temple and then you don't need to feed them anymore. Right. They're in the temple and the priests will take care of them. Right?
Yeah, sure.
So that's their job. Or the idea that there's 3 different kind of strategies or things you're trying to do. You're trying to build the temple and keep the fire at the altar going. You're trying to rebuild the walls around Jerusalem. And you're trying to go and teach people the Bible. You're trying to teach the scrolls and, write scrolls and have teachers of scrolls. But, the scrolls, you have to, start at the bottom and then, you build your way up.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of, neat little kind of thematic, thing where, this teacher... kind of this Jewish idea of this teacher expounds upon this teacher's idea, which is based upon this teacher's idea. Yes. This kind of neat little, so a few little is this game thematic?
You have scripture texts all over this little pyramid that you're covering up. And...
So it's is this game thematic? Probably. I don't know that I really felt like I was in post-exilic Jerusalem building a temple. But is it fun? Yeah, mostly. Is it crunchy? Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a Euro game.
That's right. It's a Euro game. A brain burner, but the little thematic details do add a nice little thing. So I'm excited to give this a few more plays.
So I loved this game. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. All of the, again, a point salad game. You know, all the little, you got your core action selection kind of mechanism, and then you got all the things that you can do on the board. Are you going to contribute to building the walls around the temple? Are you going to contribute to praying in the temple? Are you going to be teaching and prophesying?
Prophesying.
Prophesying! Officer. Anyway, what are you gonna do? You can do it all. But like this core mechanism again. I love a game with a nice little like crunchy. Oh, what's going on? Yep. You got a hand of cards, and your cards have these different banners in the top left corner of the card, and they might have 3 red banners, or maybe they have a gray, a blue, and a red banner, or maybe they have whatever. And over the course of a round, you're going to be playing. You have 3 slots for cards, and so you're going to play a card. Now, if I play my 3 red, I can do the red action. I have a value of 3. I have 3 points to go towards that action, and that action has a few options for how you can spend those points, and so you do that. But now, my turn comes around again, and I play my next card, and it has a red banner on it. I can choose the red action again, and now I'm doing that at 4 or 5, like if it had 2 banners on it or whatever. And then I play my 3rd card, and I have red again, and maybe I do the red action again, and now I'm doing 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever. Right. Now I got to go back and I got to cover a card up. And so now that starts getting mean. You're like, I don't. That's right. It's like I haven't done any gray action, and now I'm covering up a gray to do gray, and I don't know what's going on. That was really fun. And then there's also neat things where there's like a bonus action at the bottom of the card. So when you play it, you can do this bonus trade usually, if you're able to, just in that moment. So that kind of hems you in because you're like, I want to do this action now based on the banners, but I don't have a gold lying around to do this trade, to make this trade worthwhile. So do I kind of like hold on to it or not? And then at the end of a round, you start to get rid of these cards. First round, you just get rid of a card, and then second round, you get rid of 2 or something like that.
And they'll score you points. The cards you get rid of have like scoring.
The cards you get rid of, they have scoring conditions at the top of the card. And that was really cool. So that's really where the game really sung for me, is that I was able to just kind of pay attention to those scoring conditions of the cards that I was getting rid of, and I really kind of ratcheted up my points near the end of the game. But yeah, this was great.
It is. It's a great game.
This is great.
It's This
is a Euro game that you just need to play.
Yeah, it's good.
So as long as Matt with no one around, still Father's Day, still had some leverage to pull to get Sarah to play some games with me. Pulled out Mind Bug.
Sure.
She beat my butt handily again. So, okay, with Mind Bug, so, again, fun little card battler, really quick, kind of crazy, has this Mind Bug mechanic where you each have swingy. Swingy. You have 2 Mind Bug cards. At any time when your opponent plays a card, you can just flip over your Mind Bug if you have one available and say, that's mine. And you're like, okay. So, when we played, I had already added a little mini expansion to it that had like 15 other creatures in the mix. And Sarah and I played one round. I just realized, you know what, that like mini expansion, it sort of has a bunch of creatures that like get you stuff by also hurting you. You're making a wager with yourself. You have to kind of say, okay, we'll lose a life point to play this card out and stuff like that. And so I was just like, you know what, this isn't working. And there was a lot of them, like they were kind of, those cards added in kind of ruined the synergy of the basic set. And so I just took those out and played again just with the normal base set. And I was like, oh, okay, no. I think this game is meant to be played just with the sets come out.
Less is more.
And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, yes. The way we were playing it was fun. But this was just like, the things were linking together a bit more. I felt like it was a little less like punishing to you for... The first set is just have fun. Like everything feels like you're just like going to town. That was good, but Sarah beat me every time. And so...
Good times.
I just went to bed sad.
Good Father's Day. Good Father's Day. Yeah. Great. Well, my last game of the month before Dan talks about a game we played together was a game called Threads of Fate. Now, I've never heard of this game before. Marion Dallas pulled this out. So this is like either the best escape room type sort of game or the worst, and I can't figure out which. So it's like a kind of escape room, like there's puzzles that you have to solve and you have to try and figure out the end result sort of kind of thing. You're not limited to just the stuff in the board. Like in the box, like you can use the internet, you can do a Google search, like you can kind of do whatever you want. Like the possibilities are endless, and to the point where, like at certain points, you actually have to email the designer of the game And like he has like set it like a pre-generated response. So like if you email him and you put the right subject line in and like your message is correct, like you'll get a response back and it'll have like the next clue. But like you physically have to like send an email to him. Like so you're like opening up your app and you're like your email and you're like sending it to this guy like he like created like an email address, like multiple email addresses for the purpose of this game. There's websites that you have to visit, like, and you don't even know what the URL is until you like you get halfway through the game and you just get to a website. You're like, okay, I guess we go visit this website. And then it's like shows you like a login page, and you're like, "What the hell is my password?" So you have to find your password, and then you like type in the password, and then you open up another page, and it's like, "Hey, congratulations!" Like here's a random symbol that you need,
Sure.
or like we had this one thing where like we could not figure out what the hell these things meant, and it was like, "Oh, leave them out in the sun for 3 hours and see what happens." Like and they like turn colors. It's like. What? How the hell was I supposed to think about that? Some like vague reference and like the clues to like something about light or something, like some vague reference to like sunshine in like this paragraph. Like you get like this text of like it looks like an entry from like Wikipedia. It's like a page long. You have to read, and sunshine's mentioned one word in the whole damn document.
Sure.
And that's supposed to tell you that you're supposed to put these things outside for 3 hours. What the hell? So
well, it sounds like a hoot. It sounds like you guys.
I really did. Like this took a long time. We spent like 2 or 3 hours solving this puzzle. We failed. We got like some of the clues. Most of the clues, I feel like we were pretty close on.
Right.
A couple of them we got like okay. I'm very confident that this is the right answer. This one, yes. I feel like we're really close.
Right.
We're just missing something. Something's a little off. A very interesting game. This is like a weird ass game, but if you really like, they're tough. The puzzles are like you're not.
Yeah, okay.
They're tough, but if you like hard puzzles to crack, Threads of Fate, yeah,
it's gonna do it for you.
This might be a great game. I don't know. It's like it's unclear to me, but
sure. Last game we played so far this month. We'll catch you up next month. Our July will have a bunch of June plays, but we went over to Mary and Dallas's. Mary was out of town, so I only get invited over now when Mary's out of town, which is
sure
makes me think things. But anyway, so it was Tom, Dallas, myself, and
me,
you. And we played. What did we play? Marrakesh. Oh my!
Step and fell, baby.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the thing, party people. Is this game? It's fun. This is a fun game. But like it's a little unwieldy. Like you never really feel like you have a huge handle on making the game do what you want it to do.
Right.
So basic kind of thing here. Again, core action selection mechanism to a point salad game where you have player board and all sorts of different locations of the player board that you put these cardboard chits on to kind of beef up your action of that different type. And you might have tracks that you're moving up as well that beef up that particular action that corresponds to that color. And then behind your player screen at the beginning of the round, you get 12 of these keshis. One of each of the colors that correspond to the player board, and a red one, which is a wild. Each phase in the round, or each turn in the round, you pick 3 of those keshis, and then you're going to place your 3 workers, onto the actions that correspond to those keshis, and then you're going to put everyone's keshis together, throw them in a cube tower, and then you're going to line them up on the different color spots, and then you're going to draft them, and you're going to be able to draft keshis of one color type and either 1 or 2 keshis you can take. So if there's 3 purple keshis, I can take 2 of them. If there's 1 orange keshi, I can just take the 1 orange. And you just go around until all the keshis are gone. And when you take keshis, they're just going to beef up the areas on your board. They're going to beef up the actions. And then, in turn order, you're going to activate the workers. And so when you activate a worker, you either just simply beef up the action again, or you do the action. You want a good feeling? Play this game. You want a bad feeling? Play this game. Oh man, like you're going around, you're like, okay, I need that purple so that I can go to the market and I can sell and buy that slipper or whatever. Like I need that. So okay, I'm going to, but I also need those dates. I need that green. Okay, I'll get the purple. Father Greg takes both of those green catchies. It's like, like I knew I should have done that first. I don't know. Like, it's so hard to predict what people are going to take and how they're going to take it. Like, what's going to actually come out the tower. Like, sometimes the cube tower feels useless.
Right.
And then other times it's like, oh, I see.
It holds 5 of your cubes.
Yeah.
Nothing comes out.
You're like, okay. So again, I really like this play. I felt like I did really well. I felt like I started off just being like, okay, whatever. Like, it doesn't really matter at the beginning. You're just kind of getting things set up. And then I felt like in the middle, I was trying really hard to get points. And I was accomplishing. And then at the end, I felt like I just got real lucky.
Probably all true.
Yeah. So yeah. What did you? This is your first play.
Yeah. So Dallas had played this once with you.
Yes.
And he was the one who actually told you to bring it.
Yes. He asked me to bring it.
He played it once and was like, yeah, it's fine. And then he went to bed and he was like, I can't stop thinking about this game.
It was just really.
So he's like, okay, we got to play this again.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting is that, so as you said, when you put the cubes into the tower, that's the actions you're doing.
Yes.
The drafting of the cubes makes no difference to the actions that you're doing.
That's right.
All it does is just increase the value of those actions for whenever you do them.
Yes.
So you might take a green keshi, even though you're not doing the green action.
Yes.
You're just taking it because later on, whatever random day you decide to do the green action, well, it'll be better for you when you actually get around to doing it.
That's right.
So what's interesting is that while there's a drafting, you're never stealing away someone's action. It's not like, oh, I wanted to do green. You prevented me from doing it. It's like, no, you're still doing green. Your green action just sucks.
Yes.
Right? It's not like I can't stop you from doing green. But in the same way, you're forced to do every action because you start with one of each color.
Yeah.
And every round you get one of each color again.
You're going to do every action 3 times.
That's right. Yeah. So it's like you're only going to do the black action 3 times. How good the black action is going to be depends upon how many black cubes you take out of this tower.
Yes.
But
throughout the course of play.
That's right. So it's an interesting kind of thing. Whereas a lot of games, it's kind of like Ezra, Nehemiah, or whatever. You could do the red action all day. You could just stay with that track and be like, no, I'm just going to focus on the red action, and that's going to be my home.
Yes.
You can't do that here because it's you can really buff up the red action and then. Or you can't buff up the red action, but you can buff up the green action, and then when the green action comes, you get a bunch of stuff.
So a great example is the black action. So the black action is one of the temple tracks or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna move up that track 3 times.
Right.
And so either you're gonna move up that track 1 time each.
Right.
Or you can spend some time beefing that up, and all of a sudden you're going to move up 8 spaces in one go.
That's right.
So it's really interesting that, yes, you're limited to doing these actions only 3 times a game, but because you're beefing up the actions the whole game, your actions could be super powerful.
That's right. Yeah, an interesting game. Kind of tough to get your head wrapped around. Because, you're like, what is this drafting meaning? It's like, yes, I'm stealing stuff from you, so I'm, preventing you from, developing your black action. But I'm not preventing you from doing it. I'm just kind of hurting your ability to do it well.
Yes.
Right?
That's
so kind of an interesting take on sort of a drafting mechanic.
Yeah. So after the first play, I was like, I like it, but, what? After this play, I'm starting to see okay, this is cool. I'll definitely. This isn't the best Euro game I've ever played, but it's it's an enjoyable time. All right, party people, there you have it. Those are all the board games we played in the month of June, and I want to know what games you played in the month of June. So please let us know down in the comments down below what you've been playing, what you like, what you think we would like. And now, before we get going, we're going to tell you what the best board game we played in the month of June is.
You know what? I'll say Cat in the Box.
Whoa!
Just for being a weird guy. I like trick-taking games. I always have. And I think this is a game that I haven't yet, but I would love to bring out with, my family. My aunts and uncles and stuff like that, who know trick-taking games and really just, throw something weird at them, and they're going to be
their
like,
minds would
they're going to be like,
explode.
I'm going to be like, this is a game about Schrodinger's cat. And they're going to be like, who? What? What the hell? It's a cat in a box. It's maybe dead. What? Anyways, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's cool. When I first looked at this list of games that I played this month, I was like, this is kind of a stinker of a month. But after going through this, there's some cool games here. But I'm going with Ezra and Nehemiah, man.
Cool.
That was something special.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like that game. That's a good game. It's hard now that you're moving into the city. It's hard for me to justify some board game purchases, but like also I'm kind of like whatever. Sure. There's some of these games that I just want, and Ezra and Nehemiah is one of those.
Cool.
Ooh. Who else are we going to be playing games with for the next foreseeable future other than you? I don't know. But I may as well still own these games that you own just because.
That's right.
Alright, party people, there you go. If you like this video, please press the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And until next time, party people.
Have the best day.